Listen, I've never had any problem expressing my opinions, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. These are conversations that need to be had in an unfiltered way. Drag racing's all I've ever done. It's all I care to do. I respect the history, I appreciate how far we've come, but I want more for this sport, and I'll fight for it. It's uncut, it's unfiltered. This is the show of shows. The biggest names in drag racing. No holds barred. This is the great American motorsport. Drag racing. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Hey gang, Wes Buck here, Drag Illustrated Magazine, checking in. It is Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Hope you're doing well out there. Remember, do me a solid. Seriously, I appreciate it greatly. Just click that little like button, click subscribe, click share. Help us spread the gospel of drag racing. We appreciate it more than you will ever know, and it's required. It's basically required. It costs you nothing. It's free, and we need your help. We believe the sport of drag racing, despite how far we've come. 75 years the NHRA has been rocking and rolling, right? A dozen years for PDRA, all these things growing and doing well, but there's so much more. There's so much more for the sport of drag racing. The more people we can get our sport in front of, the bigger the payouts get, the more the events improve across the board. The ripple effect impacts everyone in this space. So please help us spread the great American motorsport. We got a hell of a show for you guys today. We're going to do some kind of in-house shop talk, which I'm excited about, with another friend of ours from the media. Elon Werner is here. We're also going to be joined by Antron Brown, fresh off a huge win at the Super Grip Thunder Valley Nationals this past weekend in Bristol, Tennessee. Then we're going to round out the show with what I expect to be a very entertaining interview with Pro Mod powerhouse team owner Scott Tidwell and his driver Jason Collins, who also got the job done in Thunder Valley this past weekend behind the wheel of that blue, beautiful 69 Camaro Pro Mod. Man, what a weekend. Probably the most absolutely insane, like from first round on to the final we've seen in a hot minute. And I'm telling you guys, Scott Tidwell Motorsports, you heard it here first, hottest team in Pro Mod right now, across the board. I mean, you think they win the World Series of Pro Mod, the big one, right? The biggest, richest Pro Mod race in the history of the known universe. I think that's trademarked, JT, so we got to be careful with that, I think.
Oh, well.
Possibly. NHRA may have it trademarked. I think it's true. Elon will confirm. He wins the World Series of Pro Mod with Aaron Stanfield behind the wheel, right? The guy changes cars, sits in, drives two other cars, switches cars for the final race, wins the biggest Pro Mod drag race on the planet Earth, goes to Gainesville, puts Derek Minholt behind the wheel, boom, wins again, right? Jason Collins has scored a win in Pro Mod earlier this year. Paul Gargas, first time out at the Shakedown at M-Town in US 131 in Martin, Michigan, wins Pro Mod at the Shakedown. Then they come this past weekend to Bristol and do the job again. I think they've got at least 5 wins in 2026 alone. Super excited for these guys and can't wait to talk to them. I can't believe we've never had Tidwell. As much as I talk to him on the phone, it's crazy that we haven't had him on the show. So I'm super fired up about it. But as I said, we got a hell of a show for you today. Elon's already in the green room. Mike Carpenter, JT Hudson. What's up, guys? Everybody doing good? Let's go round the room. How's everyone?
What's up?
Man, I'm kicking ass in the green room. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, he was. You really didn't save any of your good material.
Ron Capps and I are totally.
Ron Capps bobblehead. Dude, this is becoming a thing. Last week I was showing off all of my Fast and Furious diecast collectibles. Now we're showing off bobbleheads. I need another collection of stuff to keep on my desk.
So I hit Bristol and they did a social media post that Capps had bobbleheads, and I'm a huge Capps fan. And I was like, how did I not know there's Ron Capps bobbleheads? I hit the track on Friday, went straight to Nitro Mall and bought one. And then I go by Capps and Maddie Gordon are doing a Carlisle Tools autograph session, and the line is all the way up the pit area. And I just pull up my golf cart and I open my bag and I just pull the bobblehead out of the bag. And Capps just looks at me and just starts laughing. And he's like, what are you doing? I go, man, I went and bought one of your bobbleheads. Gotta have it.
I have a very similar story. I was walking through Walmart and I am a giant Lil Wayne fan. And I happened to see a Lil Wayne collectible. So I had to have it. Same thing, and I'd love to get him to sign it if anybody's got any hookups with Weezy.
This thing would scare a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
man,
I don't know if you can see right back
Yeah.
here, but that's an actual Little Penny doll. If you guys remember Little Penny,
Little
Yeah.
Penny?
Little
From
Penny?
Nike?
that's an actual here.
Oh,
remember
man.
50 Cent?
All right, hold on, I'll continue.
Little Penny. You
From
had to have the shoes
Henry
too, man.
Hardaway
I had
days.
the Penny Hardaway shoes, dude.
Oh.
That was-
That's
Oh, yeah.
sweet.
It kind of looks like Dennis Rodman.
What did it say?
But it's got Chris Rock's voice inside.
yeah. Chris Rock was Little Penny. You don't remember this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I got this, and I had a friend find it
We're
for
dating
me. And I was
ourselves.
like, man, I can't believe it looks just like Little Penny. And my buddy goes, man, imagine they made a doll that looks just like a doll. And I was like, oh, you're right. Little Penny is not just a little live
Yeah,
marionette. It's just a doll.
It's not a person. I've got DMX.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big DMX guy with the red, X gonna give it to you. Got Notorious B.I.G. For those that don't know, I'm a big hip hop guy. So there you have that. I'm also an Elvis guy, and I have a bunch of Elvis.
This was before he went country, JT.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
This
Moved to
episode
Texas
of-
6 years ago.
This
Bought the
episode
hat,
of the
bought
toys
the
of
boots.
drag racing.
It's crazy, dude. Well, hey, so there's a lot going on in this sport right now. Tons of newsworthy topics, but perhaps one of the coolest things that I've seen recently. Elon, give us we want to move some product, brother. What's
Yes.
going on with your latest creation, the 1,000 round win club? John Force, Greg Anderson, super cool deal. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So here's prototype. So it's the 1,000 round one club. Here, I'm going to kick my light off.
Yeah,
this glare
let's
skill.
make Elon full size here.
Okay.
So
Hold on, Elon.
you got
As soon as I click it, you click it. There you go.
I know.
this little jobber right here. So it's signed by John and Greg, 5x7 card, 1,000. I was actually with Force yesterday getting him to sign his 1,000. They're $75 plus shipping and handling. Buy them now, ship them July 4th. So truly, they are selling. We started selling them this weekend in Bristol to celebrate Greg's 1,000th anniversary or 1 year anniversary of his 1,000th round win accomplishment. But it's truly like on card signatures from Greg and John on one piece with their iconic 1,000 round win tire photo. It's the first licensed piece of the 1,000 round win club. There's only 2 members in the club right now, John and Greg.
You know who the third coming up on it is, though.
Caps is the third one coming up on it. So Caps could be 2027 probably at the earliest. I mean, he's kicking around 954 right now. So
Oh my!
Yeah.
Let's show that video of John
let's check
signing
this out.
yesterday.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, I
fresh
wanna
back
see this.
from California.
do you think you've signed in your career?
I really don't know. I'd say
You think it's in millions? Is that out of the question to say?
no. I was thinking more like $1 billion. I mean, if you look at the weekends and the years,
Yeah.
and I'm doing 1,000 here today.
I mean,
That's
he
spectacular.
truly thinks he signed 1 billion autographs, and I don't really
Well,
know
he may have. I mean,
that we
God,
can
man.
dispute
I'm not going to
that,
argue with John Force if we're going with
you
it.
know, but I mean, I've seen him sign 2,500 die casts in an afternoon.
Wow.
When we were in Charlotte when Lionel had taken over action and we're at the Lionel place, he was signing 2,500 die casts. Courtney was doing like 1,000 and Neff was doing 500, and Force has got a cup of coffee in his hand and he's just going and he's signing, and the Lionel people had a whole system. He was signing some with different colored pens. There are different cars, and the whole time he's screaming at Courtney and Neff, you better make sure your autographs look good. People are paying their hard-earned money for these. If you don't give them a good autograph, they're not going to buy our stuff, and we owe it to them, like nonstop. And, you know, Neff is just like over it. Neff didn't like to do any of he liked to drive, kind of, but he liked to crew chief. The extra stuff, not interested. So that was like nightmare fuel for him.
Do you think about, like, say it is 1 million, right? Like, to me, the fact that of those 1 million autographs, maybe John Force has signed or whatever the number is,
Right.
I can't help but be a little humbled just that there's 1 million people that have wanted that man's autograph.
Right.
Or are we, you know, because I
No.
think a lot of times in drag racing, we play small, right? Like we feel it's a close knit community. Everybody knows everybody. It's kind of gossipy, you know, the nature of this
No.
deal. But this is a big sport. that impacts that a lot of people care about.
I would say $1 million is
even people-
realistic, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
even people that
I wouldn't doubt it.
that don't follow the sport every day, like the diehard drag racing fans. John Force is one that everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
If they did just catch one weekend out of their life, they're going to get John Force's autograph.
Yeah, and you think I've been with him when we traveled together, and he's always all castroled up or peaked up. I mean, I've never been anywhere with him where he has not signed at least 3 autographs, ever.
Yeah,
like going to the
pretty
airport,
amazing,
and
man.
stopping and signing autographs. But the thing about yesterday and even that Lionel deal, the first autograph he signed, you can't tell the difference between the last autograph.
That's a
He was
skill.
sitting there.
You have to develop that.
Now, I'll be honest, there are a couple times because there's a box for John and there's a box for Greg. So yesterday I got John to sign all of his. Next week before Norwalk, Greg is going to sign all his because they're both right-handed guys. So you had to go the left box first so they didn't get smeared. But every now and then, of course, we get going, and then his signature would kind of get bigger, and he'd kind of encroach into Greg's area. And if it just kind of went over there, I wasn't super worried about it. But
damn fuel guys always encroaching.
he just
pro stock.
one of them he just basically just signed, and it was like 2/3 of the card. And I was like, okay, we gotta.
So put yours down there.
Slide that one to the side.
Little pro stock. Yeah.
So
Put your little pro stock signature down there.
But he was great. The cool thing about the piece is it comes in a really nice acrylic frame, but it's not encased in the frame. And that was a discussion we had about some people may have a special way they want to display it. It comes with a certificate of authenticity to guarantee on-card signature. I was there for every one of these signatures for both these guys. And then, the nice frame, so you can keep it in the frame, or if you want to take it out and put it in a shadow box with your jersey or whatever, you can do that. So you can get them now. It's just 1000roundwindclub.com. So the number 1000roundwindclub.com, and you can order it.
Let's put that in the chat, T.
Yeah. So, but I'm super excited about it. It's the first licensed product 1000 Round Wind Club has ever done. And it was funny. I was talking to some people at JFR and about this, and they were like, when we were doing the licensing agreement, we're going, and the guy was like, now I know, we have the big certificate of membership from the 1000 Round One Club in the office. I mean, have you talked to the people that run this club? I mean, are they okay with you doing this licensed product? And I was like, Mark, I am the 1000 Round One Club. I am the 1000 Round One Club. Like that tuxedo jacket, I bought that jacket. That certificate, I made that. This is my deal. Of course, also had a hard time wrapping his head around it. He's like, now who is Billy Meyer involved with this? Because the race, because of the Motorplex, or what they got? And I was like, no. I go, this is
my deal.
Me tearing a page out of the John Force playbook of you're making money, and then you're taking some of the money you're making and you're just pouring it back into the machine. Like you said, Wes, making things to grow the sport, to make it better, for everybody. I don't know what other licensed products will do. We're not going to go nuts, but this is the first one of just 1,000. Nice round number, really cool piece. And Greg's super excited about signing. Force was great. Also, it was crazy. Ashley was super helpful yesterday. And the fact that it was me and John and 2-time U.S. Nationals winner Ashley Force Hood kind of organizing all these cards and everything. So it was a really fun day. So,
brother, it's a special thing. And I tell you, I applaud it for exactly what you just said. I've preached this a lot here, but we've got to deepen the experience for race fans. Yeah. Like for so many stick and ball sport fans, like my son, I always kind of use him as an example, but like a big connection that he has to the NBA is sports cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he collects them,
which
and
he's huge right now. When I was a teenager, cards were huge. We were so into it. And then I feel like it died down, and it's back in a big way. And I mean, I think these collectibles as a whole, as you're saying, Wes, are back. Like for kids Max's age, it's a big thing.
Dude, kids collecting Pokemon cards. I met a mom yesterday here locally that has a 5.5-year-old son, and she says all we do is like the only thing he cares about is going and pulling cards from a Pokemon pack. And to me, it's just another tool that we have like in our tool belt to try to connect somehow to get people to feel invested. And I can't imagine, like, with the fan base that John Force and Greg Anderson have, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to sell all 1,000 of these things, because people are going to want a piece of that history. And it's a way to feel somehow involved or connected or have a piece of that moment. And I mean, not to mention just how significant of accomplishment it is. I saw Jolie Stanfield, wife of the winner, the one and only Aaron Stanfield, in the comments saying, is there a 5-round club, a 5-round win club? And I literally was just having that conversation this morning of, like, wrapping your head around 1,000 round wins in pro level drag racing competition. That is,
you need to hold on to your table, because anyone that disputes the John Force versus Ashley Force final round in Atlanta, that was orchestrated or anything, complete fabrication, because Force went into the Atlanta race with 996 round wins. That was his 500th career race. If he would have beaten Ashley, he would have had 1,000 round wins in 500 races, which would mean averaging a semifinal finish for 500 effing races in a row.
That's, I mean, I have goosebumps on my
Instead,
goosebumps.
Ashley trailers him, and we have to wait till St. Louis for him to ironically beat Caps, who's the next man up, in his 501st race. First round of his 501st race, he gets his 1,000th round win.
Legendary. I mean,
so who else besides Caps? Who else is anywhere close? Like, and just so that we can start to grasp like an idea of longevity and success. Like, those are the two things you have to have. That maybe not everybody fits the bill.
Yeah. The next guys up, and this is where it's also bonkers. Tony Schumacher and Doug Coletta basically are right around 900. So they're still 100 back.
You still got a long way to go. Yeah.
And you think about, I think, you
can only get 4 at a race, right?
The long-term sponsorship. So maybe if they can get their program up and running, he might get it on longevity. Coletta, up until a couple years ago, I would have thought no way, but I think he has a legitimate chance because, yes, he's got his 2 world championships. He's got the U.S. Nationals win. But now that Mitch is starting to race, thanks to you guys and the World Series of Pro Mod, and he starts his career with a win in his first big-time race, Mitch is kind of getting into the drag racing world now, and I think that will help keep Doug out here racing for a few more years.
How close is Doug? Do you know off the top of your head?
He's like right at like 890 something, but that was earlier in the year. He's probably at like 910 now.
But still,
so
that's
theoretically at the
like
rate they're winning races.
Events.
He could be at 940 coming out of here, and he could be a 2028 guy.
Yeah, man. How cool is it that there are even people on deck? I mean, that's, I don't know. It's jaw-dropping.
I'm a huge nerd. And to me, it's ironic that all my favorite drivers are guys that are eligible for this club that I'm super passionate about. Force, Greg Anderson, Caps, and then Coletta. Think about if you could do, and again, these are all ideas, an event like a dinner with 1,000 Round Win Club guys.
Oh, I love it.
Those 4 guys telling stories. Obviously, Force is a little limited, but with Caps and those guys, they could all help, and then you get your picture with all 4 of the guys, like we do with the Stampede of Speed. Picture with all the 4 members of the 1,000 Round Win Club.
I think it's brilliant, man. And again, it's adding a layer to the fan experience that our sport so desperately needs, right? Yeah. Like, we're lucky that drag racing delivers in spades, right? Like, if you go to an event, if you go to a drag race, you're going to be hard pressed not to have a good time. You're going to meet a bunch of cool people. It's loud and crazy and intense. Cool, yeah. I mean, but deepening that experience after the fact, or giving something people to sink their teeth into between races, I think this stuff is like truly mission critical. And it feels like drag racing has been a little late to the party, but thanks to people like you, Elon, that are kind of outside of the box thinkers, that are worldly, that have seen the successes and failures of other sports. Because I think that's like where some of the magic happens, is sometimes drag racing, we have been so like laser focused on like the next pass, the next event, that we're not probably looking around enough at what's working, what other series or what other sports are doing. And it's cool to see some of this memorabilia really, because it went away. Like, to Mike's point about sports cards, I remember when like every drag racer worth their salt had a die cast.
Yeah.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
But now I don't see them nearly as much.
They're not really out there. And the
when we
other
were kids,
thing,
the Bo Jackson card with black and white, that like everybody wanted that.
Yeah. And to me, the other thing that's super important to me is to make this valuable to the drivers. To basically, they've got to help them monetize this accomplishment. I mean, they're getting a benefit of this card. I mean, I have a licensing agreement with them, so they, if this is successful, then that could open up the door for me to do more deals with different people to help the drivers make more money for their accomplishment. And I think that also helps grease the skids a little bit, So
Elon, this is any round win in the NHRA, right?
Pro round wins. So it's basically
like Antron's motorcycle wins.
Motorcycles count, like Caps's top fuel count. But so it's any Mission Foods.
Somebody asked that in the comments. So
and we had a discussion of sportsman racers, that there's guys up there, but the issue with sportsman racers is, how do you value a national event win versus divisional win versus a regional win, and all it was just so much cleaner to just be like these four guys, the pro in it, even we don't count forces, HRA or IHRA or just this is just their mission.
Dude, this is the pro level of drag racing, right? It's the highest level of our sport, and I think it makes perfect sense. And one of the things you said about making this, valuable to the drivers, we've experienced that ourselves with like the Drag Illustrated 30 under 30, our new Drag Illustrated Power 100. These things become resume line items.
Yes.
They become, every year when I go to PRI, I'm blown away, or just at the races in general, and the weather's a little cool. Everybody that's been in 30 under 30 is wearing their 30 under 30 jacket.
Yeah.
Like it is a conversation starter. It is a door opener. I mean, I've had kids that have gotten sponsorships, who have gotten product deals, who have gotten special treatment or whatever, earned some sort of favor by way of being in that club. So I think you're really, really, really on to something, man.
And I think, just funny you say that, because I was, I had Spencer Hyde. He went up to the Root and Smith autograph session in the suites, and I was grabbing a stack of his hero cards. And I'm just looking at the back of his hero cards, and it had, 3-time finalists, 1 Mission Foods, 2 Fast, 2 Tasty, and then bam, Drag Illustrated's 30 under 30. And to me, the value of that, what you guys have done with 30 under 30 and what you're going to do with the Power 100 list, is it did not seem out of place. It was not like a throw in, like, okay, this guy's won races, this guy's, been a finalist, this guy's done this, rookie of the year. So of course he's going to be a 30 under 30 guy. Like it did not like.
And what I love about that, selfishly, Elon, and I think Michael kind of followed my thought on this. I love that he was in the Drag Illustrated 30 under 30 before any of those other things.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like we identified that this kid was special, that there was some talent here, that there was something magical happening. And then to see over the course of time, he become an NHRA Rookie of the Year, drive Jim Head's funny car, do all these things that he's done. Like that's the whole purpose. And I love that.
I threatened to quit my job, in case, unless he got it.
That's how much JT believed in him.
And here's where all idea guys on this deal. I mean, I guess JT's kind of an idea guy, but the three of us are idea guys. And we just speak things into existence. And I have gotten a glimpse of what it takes for you guys to do the 30 under 30 list. Do you guys have some kind of time portal machine I don't know about, where you're getting an extra 3 days a week?
That's why Nate has
our
gray hair.
100 list.
Yeah, Nate aged so quickly. We got the good out of him with the 30 list.
That list is going to be, whenever it comes out, it will be the talk of the sport until the Gator Nationals. I don't care if it comes out at the U.S. Nationals. I don't care. I think you can still nominate. I mean, I still have people, I'm still thinking about people to nominate, and I'm spending time to craft. Like, I want it to be like an Oscar for your consideration deal.
Yes.
And the fact that there are people now that are like publicly like, hey, I know it's a long shot, but for your talk, get me on this list. And just the people that are on, and what I love about it is there will inevitably be people that will be completely butthurt about not being on the list. They're going to be like,
no doubt.
What do you mean I'm not a Power 100 person? And then they're going to look at the list and go, oh, okay, well.
Check this out, Elon. Earlier today, I was talking to Lyle, and he sends me, I'm waiting on a confirmation from a couple crew chief computers, but I've definitely made over 230 runs this year already, possibly over 240. I've made over 80 in NHRA legal cars. And then we talk back and forth, and he says, I'm not trying to pad my stats to get into the Power 100 or anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, God dang.
It's a constant deal for people that they're, I've had conversations with motorsports marketing managers, track operators, drivers. Who are we going to nominate for this deal? Who do you think? What about this? How? And then they think I have an inside track because I know you guys are. Hey, how are Wes and Mike and Nate and JT? What are they looking for? And I was like, dude, I don't know.
It's funny because
not a crazy algorithm that
honestly, man, it's for me. It's how do you say? Like, it's what. First and foremost, like the whole reason that we created the Power 100 is it's because influence in our sport has never really been measured. If you think about it, like we rank the quickest cars, the fastest runs, the amount of championships, the amount of round wins, but nobody's ever really put a stake in the ground and said, these are the 100 people who actually move drag racing. The racers,
that's the same way for the 30 under 30. Like there's a lot of data that can get you close, but then a lot of the decisions come down to just gut feeling, calling your shot, even just maybe it hasn't happened yet. I mean, we call our shots all the time. We put people on the covers of the magazine well before they go on to have their ultimate
Maddie
success.
Gordon. I mean, I'm so proud. We put Maddie Gordon on the cover over a year ago as the cover story for our Women of Power issue. And here she is now arguably becoming or on track to become the face of professional drag racing. And I mean, I think that that's kind of the magic of this. The DI Power 100, for what it's worth, in my opinion, is one list that pulls everybody under one tent and says, these are the people. This is who's driving the great American motorsport forward. Yeah. Somebody had to do it. And I got to tell you, man, like I know you guys had this conversation on Life's a Drag podcast recently, Elon, but it's, what makes someone influential in the sport of drag racing? And like for me, it's not round wins. Like that is definitely a factor. Like I think a case could be made for John Force alone on those round wins, but there are plenty of world champions, plenty of guys who've won a lot of races that couldn't move the needle an inch outside of their own pit area. Yeah. Influence is when you talk, do people listen? When you make a move, does the sport move with you? Can you put cars on a starting line, butts in the stand, eyeballs on a broadcast, money? Can you bring money into a sport? I mean, like some of the most influential people in the sport of drag racing have never strapped into a race car. Yeah. A guy who built the engines that win everything, the tuner who's put 100 different guys in the winner's circle, a promoter who creates an event or a race where people fly across the world to participate in, a kid with a camera and 400,000 followers on social media. Like, influence is the ability to change what happens next. And I think that that's really what we're trying to measure with the Power 100.
And that to me makes it even more cool. Cause I'll be honest, Abby nominated me and she was like, hey, like we were driving, I think to Epping. She was like, I want to read what I wrote into my nomination deal. And it was like I never, like I'm just out here to do it, but she had like, she's a tremendous writer, but she just like, bam. And I'm like, there was stuff in there that I hadn't even like clocked that I, not to advocate, but it was like, if you really sit down and start thinking about people and like you're talking about who influences the sport. I mean, I have opened, people that I know that are behind the scenes people that are like, okay, they're with this team, but then they also support draw. And then they also are super involved in the junior dragster program at their local track. Yeah. And, they have a podcast or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, that's someone that's touching, you talk about baseball, 5-tool players. Yeah. That to me is who should be on this list, is all the people that are 5-tool players or, beyond racing or beyond being a crew, that are, Richard Gadsden, winning world championships, being a crew guy, but doing Big Brothers Big Sister stuff, bringing people into sport. Some of these podcasters that are just getting started, like, Mighty Mac, that's out there doing a podcast, that also crossing over into NHRA, Kelly Crandall writing for Racer Magazine and doing all these things. But then drivers, that are taking the time to find new talent, to foster junior dragster drivers, Mike Scott from Wright Trailers.
Oh, agreed.
That guy, it's like every time I turn around, Wright Trailers is supporting something. And to me, the way he's doing it, I don't even call it sponsorship. Like, Wright Trailers isn't sponsoring stuff. Wright Trailers is supporting things.
Yeah. And to me, that's a big, I was sitting here thinking about it as you spoke, that's something that you really can't put a value on, right? That he's out there, so I can't wait to see the list. Now, this was a question that came up that I don't want to put you. Is Please.
The list ranked? Like, will there be a number one person, or is it just a group of 100?
It's a group of 100. I initially considered a ranking system, to be honest with you, but it just felt like it was going to be too messy. And what I really want to do here is create a community, because bringing these people together, again, that's something that's always been our song and dance at Drag Illustrated, is like, what can we do to be a galvanizing force in the sport of drag racing? How can we unite this wildly fragmented community? Because it is. I mean, I joke that it's the ultimate high school hallway. The the cliques abound, right? The jocks and the nerds and the goth kids or whatever. Drag racing is the exact same way. But the magic happens when we all start to work together, and it starts with some conversation. So, like, my ultimate goal with this, obviously working in conjunction with you and Christy Meyer and the team at the Texas Motorplex, is at some point in the not so distant future, once this list has been announced, to get as many of these people in the same room, because I want an up and coming no prep promoter to know Glenn Cromwell, to know you, to know Christy Meyer, to know there's some magic that happens when these people whose paths routinely don't cross. And if you can make it an event and you can go into it with purpose and say, hey guys, it's very cliche to say, but I believe it. A high tide lifts all boats. Like, if we can get some of these people communicating and working together and kind of just tear down some of the walls, right? I mean, that's really when we did the Pro Superstar Shootout in conjunction with Pro, that was what it was all about. You know what I mean? Tearing down these walls and making sure that, officials felt like they were in a equally yoked relationship with racers, and racers, perhaps more importantly, felt the same. And there's some real magic that's going to come from this Power 100, and I can't wait to see. I mean, like I said, we've gotten thousands of nominations. Some of them are one word. Some of them are a name, but some of them are tomes, 1,000-word essays of why someone deserves to be in this conversation. And we're super excited about it.
If you take a look back, we've actually done something similar for issue 100 of 10 or 11 years ago. When we just recently hit DI 200, as we've talked about. DI 100 also featured the 100 most influential people of drag racing at that point. And it was a very similar type of approach. So this is kind of be that on steroids, but will be interesting to compare the two, to see how the sport's changed, how many people are on both lists. So I'm really excited to kind of compare it to that. We'll have to pull that back up.
And the one last clarifying note before we cut you loose, Elon, is just that a quick reminder that this is not a Hall of Fame. This is not, this is not a look back at the people that changed something 50 years ago or invented something 50 years ago. This is a list that represents, it's a modern list. Who's doing these things now? Who's moving the needle right now today? And like I said, charting the course for our sport moving forward. Elon, congratulations, man, on everything. I look forward to talking to you a whole bunch more. For those that missed us at the beginning, you can buy these limited edition 1,000 round club win cards, signed authentic signatures from John Force and Greg Anderson at 1000roundwinclub.com. That is 1000roundwinclub.com. $75 plus shipping and handling. Support our buddy Elon and support the sport of drag racing and make it easier and more fun to be a fan.
All right, you guys are great. Get your nominations in for the Power 100, and just appreciate everything you guys are doing. And Wes will talk about all the things we also have working on behind the scenes. But Mike, keep doing the good work, and JT, just keep being sexy.
He's looking good, isn't he?
I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Elon.
See you, Elon.
Hey guys, I want to take a quick second and remind you that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of our friends at Stroud Safety. 100% made in America, 100% built for racers. From drag chutes and seatbelts to fire suits and ballistic blankets, Stroud Safety has been the standard in racing safety equipment for decades. Tommy Cunningham and his team don't cut corners. They build gear that saves lives. If you're serious about safety, there's only one call to make. Check them out at StroudSafety.com and make sure you tell them Wes sent you. Guys, we've got another big guest in the green room. Super excited about this. Fresh off an absolutely incredible weekend at the legendary Thunder Valley Dragway. Let's give it up for the one and only Antron Brown. AB!
What's happening? What's happening, man?
AB, what's up, baby? You doing good?
Bro, I'm doing real good, man. Doing real good. I'm trying to get a little bit of little rest going. I'm gonna do a little bracket racing this weekend, man. So
where are you going?
You headed Norwalk?
No, I'm not going to Norwalk. They're actually doing, like, they have some weather coming up there, but I'm actually going to US 131. I'm doing the triple 20s, man. They got 320 granders Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man. So
fantastic, man.
I want to go up there and just go out there and have some fun, man. Cook out and go and run the bracket.
It's hilarious. Here's a professional drag racer talking about what he's going to do on his off weekend. He's going to go do more drag racing.
Well, it's with his son, man. I mean, your son's really getting into it. He's doing some serious racing now.
Absolutely. I was hoping he could make it, but he might not make it this weekend. That joker got to work. He got a job. He got a job. So he was down, might not be able to make it this weekend. So it's like, all right, well, I got to go out and do some diligence. I got some new transmission first gears from Sonex. We've been working with them, been locking us in on some stuff right there. And we'll go out there and do some stuff with the transmission stuff and see what we got, man. Have some fun, get ready for some other big money bracket races for the end of the year and get ready for them.
Well, man, tell us about first win of 2026. We know it's been a season of change for Antron Brown. You've dived into the team ownership role. You got a driver development program, but obviously you're hunting a championship. Antron Brown's out here to win races and compete for a championship. Got the job done this past weekend in Bristol. First win of the year. It's hard to believe that's already June and we're like well into the season. But just take the temperature on the year up to this point for us and kind of, was this the breakthrough that you guys needed? Did you feel has something shifted in the program, or was this just a matter of time? I mean, kind of give us your status on the situation.
Well, Wes, man, to be honest with you, it's been a work in progress. You know what I mean? We've just been working. We started the year out good. We won the right trailers, call out race, and then got a semifinal finish at Gainesville. Went on, came to we struggled a little bit here and there. We won a round here, around there, and then they got a runner-up in Chicago, and we let that one slip away a little bit, man. We just got a little greedy, man, but we had to because the Coletta team has been no joke. Everybody knows it. I mean, Alan Johnson with Dougie's car has been doing good, but Brian Houston with that Coletta Air car with Langdon's been bro, they can't do no wrong. They even mess up and they still win, man. That's when you know that everything you're doing is right. It's so right that wrong is still right. You know what I mean? So when you look at them, you got to put it in. You got to put the work in, and we just been slowly creeping up on it. And all these other teams have been doing great. Like Leah, Tony Stewart. I mean, Josh Hart with David Grubnick. They're coming into their own. You know what I mean? And Clay Milliken, Tony Schumacher's jumping up on there, and then Maddie Gordon coming out with Rob Flynn with a brand new team. They just been steady and constant, man. They just been steady winning rounds, and we just been trying to get our stuff to the point where, we could compete and we could throw a hero run out, but we wanted to get it to where these tracks and conditions, there's no secret. The tracks changed. Our cars are just slower now. We just got to get in their mindset. When you're on a 110-degree track, you're not going to go out there and run 72, 70 flat like we used to.
Right.
Those days are gone. Okay, so we're about 600-700 slower than what we used to be, and you have to get used to it. And the tracks get trickier because, for whatever reason, we have more ambient sun now. And like the last race, first round at Bristol, it was a 136-degree track temp. You know what I mean? With a green surface. So that was a double whammy. So we're just trying to get used to getting ready to summer months because it's what's going to set the countdown. And we just want to build to that. So our goal is to go into one of the top 5 spots. We want to be in the top 5. We just made it to the top 5 this week.
Yeah, you're 5th right now.
And we want to keep climbing. That's the game plan. Keep climbing, get up there, and have a good shot at running for a championship and be there at the last race of the year like we were in 2024 with a shot to win this thing. That's the game plan.
It seems like
I was going to say, just before we jump to the next one, when you said the tracks are different now, can you dive into that a little bit more without, maybe getting too into the weeds as far as what you've seen has changed?
Well, what we're thinking is changing is something has changed, and it's hard to pinpoint, but for whatever reason, the last good race that we went to, like Maryland at MIR, that track got good. Like they really prepped it really nice to have a good show. But the thing about it is the worry of having tire failures and stuff like
too much prep,
with too much prep. So NHRA, I mean, they stabilized. This is what it is. This is what we got, and I mean, don't know what we get, but it's being consistent. You get what I mean by being consistent. Yeah. You're seeing the cars at all these races running, like if it gets over 130 degrees, you're seeing them running 85 to the 390, or maybe a 388 to a 392. Yeah. Then when the tracks get good, where it's like 100 degrees, 105, you're seeing the cars running 374 to 376. That's what you got. Yeah. You like AJ and Langdon, and then might sneak a 72, 73 out there once in a while. You know what I mean? So you kind of know where you need to be, but the tracks are tricky where if you give it too much, you will spin the tire. So like I give example in Bristol when we raced Langdon, we went down 78. That's all that track was going to give, because we came back with the computer. Our tire was on the brink of spinning the tire at several spots down the racetrack. That's all it had. Like if we gave a little bit more here and there, we would have been whoop, and the wind light would have came on another lane. So, but we knew we need to do that to win that round.
What's your what's your reaction? Is this a good thing? Like, because I've argued in the past that sometimes drag racing this is my opinion, it becomes this like race to the bottom. Like, how can we go quicker? How can we go faster? We got to set the new record. Everything. It's such a talking
the speeds, though. The first thing that comes to mind to me, though, is the speed. We see these cars, especially Top Fuel, up in the high 330s, 340 now regularly. Like, do you think it's a reaction to that, to just try to keep that speed in check a little bit? Because we've seen since the mud flaps, or whatever you want to call them, have come off, the speed gap grow between Funny Car and Top Fuel. There was a time where there was almost no gap, or it was very little. Now it's closer to maybe 10 miles per hour at a lot of these events, and the Top Fuel cars have seemingly kind of pulled away in that speed department. Do you think it's a reaction to try to curtail that a bit?
I don't think it's to curtail that. What it is all about safety at the end of the day. You always got to remember safety's key. And when you look at it, Funny Cars used to be faster than dragsters. Yeah. Because we used to have so much drag on our cars. You think our cars were cleaner in the air? They were worse in like going down the racetrack. So since we cleaned up some areas of our car of drag, and that's the reason why we used to dragsters, Funny Cars never blistered their tires. It was always dragsters, because we had the mud flaps on, 1,500 more pounds of downforce on the car. You know what I mean? People never talked about that. When we took them off, then we freed up 1,500 pounds of force off our back end of our car of pushing the tire into the pavement. So once we did that, it freed it up. You know what that did? We took the air brake off, got more mile an hour, freed our cars up, and our tires are looking better. You know what I mean? So by them doing what they do, we're actually going better mile an hour now, because we're figuring out to go slow earlier, and we give it more down the racetrack. You know what I mean?
But if you get it all early,
if you get it all early, you don't necessarily want mile an hour that much out the back door. It'll slow down a little bit. You get what I mean? Because the wick is only so long in so many different areas. So with that being said, I think what we need to really focus on, only thing I really care about, is just put on a good show for the fans. Plain and simple. I want to go out there. I want the track to be right to the point where we go out there every round and you have 70% of the cars going down. The other 30 is because they just push too hard. You follow me? When you have a show, sometimes where you only have 3 or 2 cars making out a track, that's not what people pay their money to do. I mean, and I know on the NHRA standpoint, they're trying hard. They know the fan is is what we're shooting
the
for.
Boss.
As race teams, that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting to put on a great show for the fans and giving, like you saw that final, that was a final round. Like you saw the final round against Langdon and Doug, where it was less than 1/10,000th of a second. That's a show for the fans. Like that's the stuff
no doubt
we need to do every time. And you're starting to see the cars go down the track. Like look at Tony. Keith Mert showed up. Keith Mert outran Tony Schumacher first round. Tony beat him on a hole shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's what
it's
it's
a
about.
good thing.
I mean,
Yes,
it is. I
no,
mean, Wes, your point that you were going for before we jumped on this was it is about the show. It's about that. The numbers can only take you so far. It's about that side-by-side racing and putting on the show.
And we've got to embrace that as an entire sport, because I know that we're guilty of it at Drag Illustrated or whatever. There's some record run and we can't wait to put a graphic on social and celebrate it and all that. And I mean, it's part of the job. It's what we've got to do, but we need to put that level of onus on winning the fucking race, right? Like winning is what this is about, right? Competition. This isn't land speed racing. They do that in Bonneville. Right? We drag race. We line up 2 cars and we see who gets to the finish line first. And I think that close racing is what makes this deal exciting. Door to door, welded together, all the way down through there. And when the record run happens, it's great. But we want to see great racing, great competition. And like you said about your point earlier, Antron, with Murph and Keith and Tony Schumacher, like that's what you want to see, some guy that you've never seen out here before, or is what you would call a journeyman racer, come out and upset the apple cart, because it's not, the separation isn't so insane, right? That
and going to a place like Bristol brings that out also. And then even your team, Antron, and your experience and everything, that's where it's not, perfect conditions. It's not Sonoma. It's not any of these tracks where we know Gainesville in March. It's Bristol, Tennessee, on the mountain, humid, hot in June. That's a different scenario where you guys showed this weekend that you're able to thrive.
Oh, that's something that we've always worked on so hard through all the years. Like our team does have experience, but growing, we had a lot of new guys we had a couple new guys on our team, but in new positions, and a lot of people switched positions. So we had to go through that growing pain this year also too. And now we're also starting to come together as a group, as a synced, linked in group. And that's what's going to take out here, because I would say, don't get me wrong, when we get to St. Louis time, if it's cool in St. Louis and you get cool out there in Pomona and you get cool in, when you go to Vegas, in Dallas, is like, that's when you're going to start seeing a little separation, because if the tracks get right and the conditions get right and you start turning those wicks up, and it's for the countdown for the championship, you're going to start seeing a little separation in the field. You get what I mean? Like right now, we're in that time of year where I call it is chess racing, is strategy racing. You have to strategize, and this part of the year is super important, because this was going to set the stage for that end of the year of, and you got to remember, 6 races, right? So do the math. There's 24 rounds of points available, and every race you lose, that's 4 rounds that's gone. So you want to get up as many rounds as you can. I look at that countdown deal so simple and easy in my mind. I'm like, I gotta get at least 2 or 3 rounds every race. That's your game plan. If you get 2 rounds, if you win 2 rounds at every race, if you can do that every race, you pretty much, you're gonna be a lock for the championship. You get what I mean? If you won 12, every champion, if you look, they've won about 12 to 13 rounds of racing. Unless you're Steve Torrance, when you won 6 rounds, all 6. but I mean, but most of the part, if you went over that 12 mark, that's what wins the championship. So that's what you have to gear up for, and get ready for, and be ready to AAA throw down when that time comes.
There's no doubt, man. It's exciting to watch this whole thing unfold, because it does feel like there are more. I mean, obviously, Coletta and company are on a tear right now. Perhaps, absolutely unbelievable what they're doing. But it just feels like there's a whole lot of you guys right close together, and we're seeing a lot of the difference being made on the starting line. I was just looking at Drag Illustrated's reaction time tracker. We have an engine that we've created that follows you guys and averages everybody's reaction times. And dude, you're right there. I mean, you're obviously, Justin Ashley is the class of the field. We've talked about that ad nausea, but Antron Brown, dude, across 13 runs this year, not counting this past weekend, you're an 056 average. And you were in the 50s all weekend this weekend in Bristol. Can you tell us about like your approach to the starting line and that newfound pressure that seems to be on you drivers' shoulders to cut a light?
Well, Wes, that's always been my wheelhouse, man. And it all depends on where you go. And what I always look personally is I look at reaction time and 60 foot. You add, so this is a new thing that this could be a new Drag Illustrated tracker. Put in 60 foot with reaction time. And that's how I gauge on who left on who, because some people, when they race, they just roll in a little bit and they get a little bit light. Some people blink the bub on, which I shallow stage every time because that's what I do. And then once you start doing that, you'll see who really leaves on who all the time. And when I start doing that, you have to come up with that A game. And even when I qualify, I race like I qualify. Like I don't come up and try to do something. This is what I do. And the car has a lot to do with reaction too. If your car is a good leading car, I had years. You remember when we used to race Dixon? If you look back at the 2015 era and 16 era, our car was more of a clutch dependent car. I cut 30s all day long, mid 30s, like through 4 races in a row. Like my reaction time was like a 32 average. You know what I mean? So it all depends on how everything's set up. But the thing about it is that's what you gear for. And when you leave like Justin all the time, like Justin's last week, I saw him in the 50s and the 60s. And then on race day, he came up first round. Boom! That Joker's 42 or 40. I'm like,
yeah,
that Joker knows how to put the foot down. And he saw me do it for a lot of years, but he's just on a different level, because even when it's hot and nasty out and your car doesn't have a clutch, it's like he's zoned into that tree with one. Like his foot's going down when that light's coming on somehow, and he's on it, man. He's incredible. And other guys coming in like Will Smith's doing it. Tony Schumacher, look at him now, like he's doing it. And what people haven't watched is Doug Coletta. Like, don't look at all of his stuff, but look at when it counts. That Joker is in the 40s, all the time. And Doug don't roll it in. You get what I mean? Like Doug, he's like an assassin. He tap dances that thing in. You know what I mean? And Langdon does the same thing. Langdon sometimes will take a little bit. Depends on how he feels. You know what I mean?
I mean, to your point, man. It's almost incredible. If you look at the Drag Illustrated reaction time engine I'm adding right here on the screen, here in 2027 or 26, with drivers with a minimum of 6 runs in competition, the reaction time leader average, obviously Justin Ashley, but you mentioned it. There's Antron Brown, 19 runs in competition so far this year, 056 average, but there he is. Doug Coletta, 29 runs so far this year, an 062 average and an 034 best. Pretty incredible if you think about, Doug Coletta being the one that's, got an 034 best light of the year so far.
Yeah, that's confidence, right? Confidence from that knowing what that car is going to do makes such a difference.
Well, when you get laps, remember this, the more laps you get, the better you get. And you got to remember, the only reason why Doug's reaction average is a 62 is because that Joker qualified number one at a few races and had some buy runs. And he had some buy runs. And when he has a buy run, he don't kill the tree. He's like 60, 70. But then when he races somebody, he's like, what? Pow! He cracks up. So
tell us about like the business, like AB, motorsports as a business, and like, developing new drivers and the movement you see in the space. You mentioned Matty Gordon earlier. Like, we have been saying this for about a year now, but it feels like drag racing is enjoying like its moment. Like, we're being more, it seems to be more visible. You see all the, NHRA constantly feeding us information about the viewership. I mean, the television numbers are fantastic. We've seen multiple sellout events. I mean, what's your kind of take on where the sport's at right now, for you as a team owner?
Well, I'm telling you what, you can just tell in the air it's growing. And motorsports in general is growing, but in drag racing, how about it's got this today, because we're doing some negotiation for sponsorships. We just got numbers in, like Nelson numbers in. And for a young, remember our sport used to be like drag racing used to be more old school, but now how about from the age category from 18 to 34 is 42% up in age group for viewership. So what's that telling you? The sport's
I got goosebumps again.
It's getting older. And I mean, that's something to I was like, wow, I just heard that today.
That's huge. Yeah,
I heard
it's
that
huge.
today on NHRA themselves. So there's like, hey, how about this? I was like, Alyssa's like, that is good to hear, because that tells you that our sport now is thriving in the younger generation. And that's got a lot to do with everything in drag racing that's happening. You know what I mean? From the World Series of Pro Mod, you know what I mean? From the grudge racing that you see, everything, like it's all coming in as a one unit deal, and is transcending to the big stage of NHRA too. You know what I mean? Getting out there with the TV packages and stuff like that, and having people come on like we're talking about Maddie Gordon.
Yep.
Seeing her come in, Will Smith coming into sport, somebody young. You know what I mean? And we're bringing new people in this sport to grow. Jordan Vandergriff, going from the TV scene, living a dream in there. You know what I mean? Looks like you could be on a Sports Illustrated magazine. You know what I mean?
There's a ton of youth. I mean, in the fuel ranks, there's a ton of youth out there, and just maybe even the show, the presentation. We talk a lot about this, like shortening the show or going to these smaller tracks, presenting a different show that's more digestible for the younger audience that may have a shorter attention span, or making it fashionable to go there and get a selfie with Antron or with the fuel car and show what's going on. I mean, I feel like you see that more and more. So it's kind of all these things working together. We've talked about this a lot, in grabbing that 18 to 34 demographic. That's the demographic that everybody wants. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, whatever. That's the growth graphic. That's the disposable income demographic. Like, that's a huge thing. And I mean, those numbers, I haven't seen those yet, but to hear that from NHRA, that's very confidence inspiring.
That's the demo that every Fortune 500 brand with money to spend is after, right? Yep. Like every energy drink, every consumer product, that's who they're after. So hearing that is absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that with us, AB. Tell us about one of the things, and Jimmy Dale is saying this in the comments, and this has been something we've talked about a lot. Getting more tuners, crew chiefs, crew members. This is not for the faint of heart. Like I'm sure how challenging it is to get guys and gals to come out and commit their lives, being on the road constantly, working their asses off at the track. It's not exactly easy work. It's not a walk in the park. But what's your kind of thought on the lay of the land? I mean, one of the things that I come back to all the time is just like what Alan Johnson represents, like the rare air that he exists. Like, it feels like we're seeing some of the next generation of those guys come up. But how do you feel about that? Can you give us a sense of, is it hard to find good help? Is it hard to find good help in Top Fuel and Funny Car as it is pretty much in every other walk of life?
Well, it is. And the hardest part is that we have the younger generation coming in. The thing about it is you got to find the ones that have the want to, just like anything else, man. And, but what I'm seeing is that you're seeing we have a lot of openings because we have so many more full-time teams now. Like what I'm saying about is you'll see like a short field here or there, right? But the teams that we do have, the 14 to 15 cars that show up, we don't have a give me round with one of those cars.
No.
You think about it. You get what I mean? Like you go back, like I messed up a race and I was qualified number 12. I was 13 or 14 or, you know what I mean? Justin was like 13 or 14 or like, Will Smith took out the number 2 qualifier race ago or number 3 qualifier, whatever that, whatever the ladder was. But it was just like he went a 75 or something like that and cut a 40 light and boom, put him on a trailer. So when you're seeing that, a lot of the positions that we have, we're utilizing so many of them because all these teams don't have 5 or just 6 guys on them. They have 10 people on them to make it happen. And they're all qualified. Like you're seeing crew chiefs like Chad Green. Pro Mod crew chief on his car, doing an exceptional job. He came out.
Dean Marinas. I mean,
came out with Tim Wilkerson for a year. He came out. He got like a crash course on nitro racing. Says, "I'm ready, guys. Set and forget it." You know what I mean? Like, here we go. So you're seeing these other teams getting young crew chiefs. You know what I mean? And doing what they do. You know, and it's giving opportunities, and you can see these teams growing massively. But the thing about it is, what I can say, what sets the tone apart. That's why I want to have, and we're building this whole deal with Angel, or even if we get another car down the road too, that we want to have a 2-car team, because I want to have a 2-car team, and I want it to be just like how they run at Collins Motorsports with their dragsters. See, people don't understand that's the cheat code, okay? They're not cheating, but I call it the cheat code because they have a real deal working 2-car team that helps each other out. Get what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
If you ever notice, I've been telling this, I even said this on a couple other shows. Let's go. If you ever notice, if they qualify, one runs early, one runs later, and they're communicating like boom, boom. And if one car goes out there and runs like a 76, the other one goes out there and runs a 76, 75, or 77, like right with it. You know what I mean? And they're communicating. They're not like say, oh, we're a 2-car team, but this crew chief does what he wants to do. This crew chief does what he wants to do. AJ knows exactly what Brian's doing, and Brian knows exactly what AJ's doing, unless they're racing each other. Then Brian goes, you ain't come to see what I'm doing. AJ's probably saying, you ain't see what I'm doing, but they still have great races like that. But that's why that team is so good, and that's what a 2-car team is supposed to be like. You know, is it
because it does feel like we've seen that a lot, where a guy, you bring in, you get another car under the awning, and then you're going about that one a different way, right? There's not a lot of crossover, or maybe it's a different chassis or something's different about the setup, and you're not able to learn nearly as quickly as you are if everything is as close to identical and you're sharing data. I think it's an astute observation and very true. Do you feel like that's the pathway to success, Antron? I mean, is it more meaningful to you to win around as a single car operation? Like, is that more impressive? I mean, in your mind,
it's definitely harder because you're getting one run at a time. You know what I mean? And you gotta learn twice as much. That's why we test more. We spend a little bit more money too that way. But you gotta get the runs in to get the data to get better. You know what I mean? And what I see is, because remember, I came from DSR. Okay, I came from a group that had 8 cars, and people used to think all those crew chiefs worked together, and only thing they worked together on, it was sharing the same parts. They used to whoop each other's butt. There were like 8 individual teams. Not one of them went, this is what I got, this is what I got, and ran their cars the same. It amazed me the success that we had at DSR with all the different individuals we have. I think we had it where we were in competition with each other and pushing each other with the same parts and pieces that made us better. But if we all really worked together and had the same exact car and ran them the same and go, all right, well, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, and we really work together like that, it'd be crazy. But the problem is we had separate sponsors, so there was never a workability there. Like, we needed to beat them and they needed to beat us.
Yeah, so it takes that level too. Like you talked, like the Coletta deal, to have basically the same sponsor between the two also, so that you can pull that off. I mean, that's a good example, I think, of a misconception that all these teams work together. There's team orders and everybody's sharing all the data. It's probably more rare than we all think, as you're saying.
It's very, very rare. And I think the last time you had something like that was John Force used to have that back in the day when it was like a 2-car fun car team.
Right.
Then when it separates, some of the cars run different. They all work together and do some different stuff together, because those cars ran the same pretty good. Like Jimmy was there and you got Danny Hood was there. Their cars ran pretty good, but I don't know how much logistically they worked together. They knew what they were doing, but they were still separate teams. You know what I mean? There was no, hey, no, you can't do that this time. You know, no, you're going to do this. No, it's like, and that's what I think makes it so much better if you have a true teamwork like that. And that's what I want to develop here at AB Motorsports. That's the game plan for sure, because I think that's where you start getting ahead. You know what I mean? And doing the things like you see the Colettas are doing right now.
Talk about Angel and the progress that she's making, and like where you. I mean, what do you put is that a timeline thing? Is there something in your mind saying, "Hey, we're going to have a 2-car operation by XYZ date"? Are you putting pressure on yourself to achieve that, or are you kind of letting it come to you?
No, we've been working hard on it in the back scenes of the process. The parts and pieces wise, we have that. Only thing that we're really lacking is like a truck and a transporter. But we have a brand new car set up here in the shop that's brand spanking new. That's a clone of the 2 race cars I run, which are brand new. Pretty much, they're only a year old. And then the car she's running, A Fuel, is one of my top fuel cars that can be turned back into top fuel cars. So we'll have 4 top fuel cars. And it's got an 058 front half. It is just as new as all the cars we have. As a matter of fact, I had a brand new back half put on it last year. So it's really, really new. So we can flip the switch and have a 2-car team in no time with all the right parts and pieces. We just got to find, of course, you got to get some personnel. Just got to get the funding. The funding is the end all be all of everything.
Yeah, starts with that.
And we've been working on it nonstop. And she drove my car, and by her driving, the way we brought her about and the way she drove the A Fuel car and drove our car with the switches and levers all in the same exact spot the way it is, and she got into it. It all is like, she was like, I can't believe the top fuel car is a lot smoother. It just takes off quicker. It's faster and it keeps on accelerating, but it's smoother and it drives nice. And she liked it. She loved it. And she was like, she took to it. She went straight as an arrow. And we were like, oh, she's ready. She got back. She was like, I'm ready for this. She's still all like hyped up, like, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Well, hey, man, from your mouth to God's ears, we need Antron Brown to be as successful in the sport of drag racing as humanly possible, man. I tell you this every time we talk. We're so blessed to have an ambassador like you, someone as well-spoken and lovable and likable as Antron Brown, out representing our sport, winning races, winning championships, being, like I said, an ambassador for us. We surely appreciate you, brother, and we appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon.
Hey, anytime. You know, I always love being on the show. You know, I'm always going to come see you in the wintertime too, baby.
Yeah,
you better, brother.
We need it.
We need it. And I look forward to seeing you. I'd say at the next one, and definitely we're working on some cool stuff with NHRA for Indy. So I'll be talking about you, pulling you into some of those plans that we've got, man. These are good times here in drag racing. I'm excited. I really am.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. You know, you got me anytime, brother. I
appreciate you, AB. Stay out of trouble. I'll talk to you soon.
Sean.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let me take a quick second and remind you that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of our friends at Strange Engineering. I was trying to find their script read, boys, and I am struggling. Here we go. Quick shout out to the guys at Strange Engineering. I almost winged it like JT does, but for Jeff Stangy and all my boys, JC, I got to do it right. For more than 50 years, Strange has been a household name amongst racers and crew chiefs, hardcore racing and performance, street driveline and suspension components that flat out get the job done. Rear ends, axles, brakes, struts, shocks. If it's under the car and it matters, Strange has you covered. Don't just race Strange. Learn more at strangeengineering.net. That's strangeengineering.net. Make sure you tell them Wes sent you. Guys, one of the biggest topics of the weekend, besides what I was talking about at the earlier in the show, just how hot Scott Tidwell Motorsports has been as a whole here in 2026. This weekend was a wild one for those boys. They got the job done, and we're going to get to talk to Scott and Jason Collins right now. What's going on, gang? Okay, we got one in an office and one behind the wheel. Oh, now.
I'm driving, trying to get to Ohio right now.
What are you going to Ohio for? What are you doing there? Bracket racing?
So, as of, we'll just say 3 o'clock yesterday, I got a call from Tim Davis, and he wants me to come drive Jose's new Outlaw Pro Mod car this weekend.
I would want you to drive the son of a bitch too. Yeah. Tell you what, the run you're on, I'd want you to drive it too. So you're headed to the NHRA Triple Crown. Okay, that tracks. I was wondering if you were going to Norwalk for the Cavalcade of Stars or what exactly was happening. But let me throw this around a little bit. Scott Tidwell in the house. Is that an aquarium behind you, Scott?
Let's get we need to get a look at the Dixie Trucking World Headquarters right here. Look at that.
Look at that.
Got an
Very
aquarium,
nice.
Trophies.
See that old stuff on the wall?
Yeah. Pro stock truck. Looks like what comp eliminator.
Oh yeah. Those people don't know Scott Tidwell's been around. This is a funny thing. I've known Scott Tidwell for a long time. We've only like recently become like pretty close buddies, but it's like his name has been a part of drag racing for a long time in comp eliminator and various pro stock truck, et cetera. And it's awesome to see him be so prominent here today in Pro Mod. Congrats to both of you guys on a hell of a weekend. Let's dive right into Bristol. I want to go right into that second round. Scott, I want to know what you were thinking. I got to know what you were thinking when that car comes out of the water.
Probably thinking, what moron? What's this moron doing?
Well, I knew something happened. You know what I mean? It was obvious from the way the car went. I mean, I didn't know. I ain't gonna say I knew the steering wheel came on. I knew something like that had to happen. I was afraid we had actually broke something like an axle or something like that. But everything's brand new in the car, so that would have been, that was kind of a stretch. But anyway, it just honestly, once I looked close and saw really no damage to speak of, I wasn't really worried about it. All the rest of the teams were real worried about it, wanting us kicked out of
They're
there.
still worried about it.
Well, I mean, I get it, but the rules are the rules. That like Wes just mentioned, I've been around for a long time, like since 1989 type long time. And I've seen funny cars end up in the other lane and come back and race in a burnout. I mean, I've seen it all,
Well,
to be honest.
Yeah. If nothing else, everybody got a real refresher on the NHRA rule book and dissected that little paragraph about the burnout.
Well, there was
as closely as you can.
There
it
was
may
some
be one of
stuff
those
there.
situations where we might not have known the rules at the time, but we may help make some different ones.
Yeah, you did. And if the starter, if they don't wave you off and they're gonna let you make the run and you get the wheel back on, I mean, by God, you're making the run.
Yeah, well, I knew the rule. I knew there was not a rule during the burnout because I've just seen it through the years. I mean, I've seen cars actually touch each other in the burnout and still end up racing. So I did know the rules, but a lot of people's argued that there was a little piece, and there was only millimeter strip hanging down from the side that they were worried about. I wasn't even worried from looking at the damage. I wasn't worried that it was going to come apart or anything. I mean, we looked at it close. We wouldn't do anything unsafe for our driver or the driver in the other lane before we decided to send it. I don't really know. I'm not on the radio. Yeah. When he backed up, the wheel was straight. The steering was straight. The wheel was straight when he backed up. I could see that through the back window. I don't know. There's a lot going on there, but, you can analyze things so quick that you're making a decision. Nothing was leaking. The steering wheel was straight. Was there a piece of carbon hanging? I mean, people showed videos and pictures saying that it shouldn't have been allowed for that reason. I mean, I saw the little piece and I was going to snatch it off, and he had already pre-staged. Now, why his boneheaded ass went and double bugged Travis? I don't know why he did that.
That was not on purpose.
Got a lot going on
It was a
in that
mistake.
moment.
It was just. I mean,
dude, let's be honest. If you'd have drove the fucker straight down the track after that, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, I tell this story.
If you hadn't have gone on, I said this. If you hadn't have gone on to win the race, if you'd have lost that round, or even any round besides winning the race, I don't think there'd be no talk about it. We'd be done with it by now. But for you to go on and win the event with that happening, put that spotlight on it, it's amplified it a million times.
And in fairness about the double bulb is Travis's guy put his foot in the bulb while Jason had his in there, bringing Travis forward. So, I mean, in fairness, if you watch the video, his light comes on and off. But, I mean, I know for sure Jason didn't mean to do it. And I haven't even talked to Travis or Jason. I'm sure they talked about it.
So really what happened is, I don't know why. You would think after all the crap that was going on in our lane, I was like, I got back and I got in, I was just going back forward, was going through trying to do normal as possible. And, I put the first bulb on and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And to me, it felt like we were waiting forever. And I was sitting there holding the brake, and I'm watching, the tree to see if he puts his pre-stage on. And I'm sitting there watching the tree, and I don't know if, the car was idling a little higher than normal.
Yep.
But it'd been that way the whole race. I mean, it wasn't like that was something that just happened. And so I was sitting there holding the brake, and I thought plenty hard enough. And then, because this actually happened to me one other place, and I don't remember where it was. I don't know if it was, but the car was creeping so small of amount that I couldn't feel it in the car. I was so concentrated on waiting for his pre-stage to come on. And then, like, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, crap, my stage bulb's on. So at that point, all I can do is just grab the trans brake button. I don't know how deep I'm in. I don't know nothing. All I know is my bulbs are on, and I just grabbed the button for all it's worth. I'm like, I must be deep. I'm going to go freaking red. Like, just don't go red and give it away like that. And I just grabbed the button hard, and obviously I was terrible, but I swear there was no intent to double bulb. It just happened. I was in shock.
Can I say, though? Go ahead.
I was probably more shocked than they were. I guess I was in there going, what the crap just happened?
I'm all for gentlemanly competition, but I think Mike and I are probably both going to have the same perspective on this. We talk about this. Are we drag racing or not? Right? Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know that there is any, it's not illegal. Right. And I feel like sometimes this is really blown into this big thing that even if you rolled up there and it was 100% intentional, like, hey, we've had this whole calamity, I got to do something. I don't know that any of us would. I don't know. I think it's part of the game. I mean, have you ever watched a football game and seen him ice the kicker? I mean, nobody feels bad. That kid may walk into traffic after he misses this field goal. Right. But we're not going to think twice about calling a timeout as he's walking towards the ball.
It's part of it, and I don't mind it, and it's been done a million times to me personally. We just don't race that way. You know what I mean? What happened to him, to answer him, his car was out on a little high, the transmission started getting a little hot, and it moved on him, just like he said, because it moved ever so slightly, but it was enough.
But I'll say this. I mean, I am not past that. Like, if I think I've got to find the advantage on somebody and that's something I think will mess them up, you can rest assured I would do it. And I would tell you, I would sit here and admit it. I would say I did it, but I did not do that on purpose. Like, if it's somebody I think I need to do that to, I would. But that is not the case.
But to the team on the other side's friends of ours who shut their car off when we got our shit together. You know what I mean? That's the reason I know he didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't let this whole thing. I mean, we've harped on this now, and I know it's been the focus of the situation for the whole week. And even before you won the race this weekend, you guys, I mean, Jason, you're driving. Wes, I don't know if we have the stats pulled up for his reaction times, but you're driving, jumping in this car at, after a couple of races into the season has been phenomenal. The car's been running awesome with, Petty calling the shots with the screw blower, fending off the centrifugal onslaught that's been happening. I mean, you guys have had an incredible season, and you had to, I believe, go around or have someone drop around to make the top 10 for the countdown or for the chase for the championship.
I mean, if you look at our top 10 right now,
you guys have had a hell of a season. That this little deal that happened in this round can't detract from the fact that you've been a threat for every race that you've been a part of.
I mean, your worst light so far. I mean, it's like, this is incredible. Your 022
you're leading the
average
in average.
You're leading the class in average reaction time. Right now, and to me, like, I can't say enough about it. I mean, we were talking about that at the beginning of the show, Scott. I mean, I would like to ask you this, and I know some of what you're going to say, and that's why I'm asking it. What can you say about this group of people that you've put together? I mean, you've had different drivers in the car. You've got a slew of crew guys that are your guys, like guys that I've seen you race with for a long time. There's a lot of camaraderie. You guys break bread together. You know, Jason comes in as a new driver and is killing it. Paul Gargas jumps in the car.
Chris Terry, right?
Yeah, I mean, car built by Chris Terry.
Built car. But so I mean, everything's in house.
It was an original Bickle car that we wrecked it in testing a couple of years back. We took the car back, gonna just front half the car, and it turned into rebuilding the whole car. We used a few components. That's it left. The driver capsule is pretty much all that's left of the original car in that piece. We wrecked it and hit the front, but it bent all the way through the back, and then it caught on fire and burnt a lot of stuff. So we redid it. Yes, Chris Terry rebuilt the car. Chris Terry's a co-crew chief on the car with Steve, and he does good. But our team as a whole is pretty. You're right. I mean, it's the jail of the team. But we got the silver car with Paul Gargas. He'll be out again this weekend. Jason will be there in Jose's car. Fast forward the next week, we'll be back with Derek and Jason at NHRA. You got Brandon on Derek's car. You got, CT and Kevin over there. They haven't worked together, but they've worked with our team now, going on several years. And then on the other side, you got Franny, Barry, Louie. It really just depends. It's not always the same on the side with Jason or Paul, because Jason and Paul both do their part with the cars. He's not just a driver. Which you back up a few years ago, we had the Pro 275 car with Jason as a driver, and we did pretty well over there for a couple of years. Same setup, Jason driving it, different friends helping work on it. Steve Petty and Chris Terry working all the other stuff, and then us giving them all the parts they need. But that's the main thing is that everybody had such a burning desire. We missed the first two races of the year. For him to come out fourth in points is incredible. We missed the first two races. The third race we went to the finals, but we had to give those points away because the previous plan was for Ken to come along and race with us. And then that didn't end up working itself out. Everybody's got their different opinions of it, but it just didn't work out is the bottom line. Jason's dad came to me at Charlotte and said he really wanted to do this for the rest of the year. And we made what we thought was a plan to continue on through Valdosta that way and then pick up Jason. Then we all got to figuring out about how can we get, a car in the championship hunt one way or another. And, you just figure out the math and what makes sense and do it. Went back to our board and they voted to give us, the points from Valdosta, but not the other ones, which was fine. We told them, vote, make your decision. We'll accept it. And I meant that. And I think I accepted it better than some of the team because the one thing you couldn't take away was Jason sat his butt in that car and earned those points. But the paperwork, that wasn't the plan. So that's how we planned it. So whatever penalty came with that, as a team owner, I would accept it. And I told them that. I just wanted a decision to be made and go forward. And that's what we did. The majority of the people were like, he can have it, but it wasn't 100%. It was the majority that was like, sure, Jason earned the points. What does it matter? But it wasn't 100%. So we ended up getting, his win from Valdosta. Of course, nobody really knows. This car has been talked about for over a year coming out. I mean, there was talks of, Lyle Barnett driving it. Of course, Ken drive. There was talks of several different people kicked around about wanting to drive this car when it came out. And then the centrifugals were dominating so much that nobody was really jumping up and down to do it. And I talked to Jason, and he's like, yeah, I'll drive it. Of course I will, So we put it all together and brought it out. We felt like it would run good, but we never felt like it would go to four finals in a row.
I'm like the designated Scott Tidwell Racing test dummy.
Yeah, for 2 years. That's another thing. It was his turn because he's tested for 2 years for us, multiple cars at the same places, multiple events. You know, he busted his butt. It was his turn. You know what I mean? It was his turn to get to race it, and I was going to bring it out regardless. Just like, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but all the money I had spent and the rule revisions and stuff made me determined to go to Gainesville. Derek Minholt wasn't even going to race NHRA for sure. He was on the fence of not. And I mean, we had plans to possibly go do something else that I wasn't for it or against it, but I just, in my heart, I love NHRA. I just do. It's where the best of the best are at. And if you want to beat the best of the best, you know, I want to go where they're at. And, you know, the Winter Series also, I mean, the best of everybody's best comes there, as y'all already know. They come there. We've done okay there. We've won all the races.
Done okay.
Yeah, you've done okay. Yeah, you've done more than okay, Scott.
We won a championship, and we've won every event, you know, different times. Probably didn't finish bad this year in it. Ken raced one of the Winter Series races, and then we had a different driver. Probably would have done a little better, maybe not. But we did get Aaron his first Pro Mod win there at the World Series, which was cool.
And one little caveat to that. I mean, I was this close to driving that silver car at the World Series, like this close.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, dang, that could have been me. You know what I mean? That car is awesome.
I want to ask you this because, you know, Jason, I don't know if you remember this, but I met you. The first time I ever met you was way back when we were testing Shannon Jenkins' flat black 68 Camaro at Steel. We were down there for like a week. We rented the track and hanging out. It was black ice. I was crewing for Shannon at the time. I was just helping, doing anything I could. And what was it? I mean, it's got to be somewhat surreal. Like all this time you've spent in drag racing, pro stock racing, all these different things you've done, owning a race, running a racetrack, being the test dummy, as you said, and piloting these cars when these other drivers aren't available. I can't imagine what it feels like to have two Diamond WALLYS, two 75th anniversary NHRA Diamond WALLYS to your credit, and to be on this tear you're on. Like, if it all goes away tomorrow, you have done something that is incredibly significant. And in the fashion that you've done it, it's not like, to Scott's earlier point, it's really competitive. You know, NHRA represents the best of the best. There's no one there that's not capable of winning. And for you to do what you have done in 2026, man, we feel like we got to give you your flowers. I mean, like pulling up that list and you're the best lever in the class. I mean, and that's a list that includes Lyle Barnett, J.R. Gray, Stevie Jackson. You know what I mean? Like it's impressive.
That includes him going to sleep against Travis, don't it?
Yeah, it does include him going to sleep against Travis.
Yeah. So, I mean, like for me, you know, I'm indebted to Scott on a lot of levels, but you know, we went out there with that Pro 275 deal. Never drove a radial car at all. We go to the first race. You know, we didn't even test. I mean, we didn't get a chance to. And we show up down there and we test the first couple of days, and you know, the cars ends up being fast, and we go out there and you know, we runnered up at the very first race we ever went to. You know, then we go on a tear and we win like every race of the year. You know, and I
that's because we got the test.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the test after that first race, and then, you know, I think we won every race after that. If not, I mean, I think we won 6 of the 7 races.
That's
and I mean, right. It was just unbelievable that we could. But you know, when I go out there to drive the car, to me, I take it seriously. Like, it's not. I know everybody takes it serious, but like, I literally put in the work and the practice time to try to make myself the best I can, because I see how much time and effort that the crew puts in, the money and all that Scott puts in, the you know, Steve and Chris looking at the track and, you know, going through everything, trying to figure out every last button and knob to turn to make it go the fastest and go down the racetrack. And I'm like, if I'm not doing my part on my end, then all I'm doing is I'm not only hurting myself, but I'm hurting everybody else on the team.
Well,
and it's my job. And
well, we have a team. Our team.
I want to go out there and show every round. You know, just like at Bristol, if you look at qualifying, now the first one was, I had an issue with the gas pedal. I was kind of on the side of it, and I was just hoping to keep it on the floor so Petty wouldn't get mad that I didn't have it on the floor. And of course, it ended up aborting that run. But after that, when everything went like it was supposed to, I think I was 003, 007, 008. And I mean, I'm going to go out there and knock it down every time because I want everybody to know, hey, when you get up there, you better be ready because I'm going to give you my best shot every time. Now, is that going to backfire on me sometimes?
Oh, we lost him.
Somebody called him.
He'll be back. Scott, what were you going to say?
Well, the one thing about our side of that deal, you ask about our team, and one of the things that's really unique about our team, Wes, is we have a whole team of people that nobody wants to be the weak link. Nobody. Our truck driver knows he's the best. He knows he can be wherever he needs to be. You know, the cook guy wants the food to be better than the next pit. The crew guys want to work. I'm serious. I mean, you're right. That nobody wants to be the weak link. We may not never win another race again. I would bet against that because we have a team on both sides of that trailer. You know, our Derek Menhold team, our Paul Gargas team, our Jason Collins team. You have a team of the same people, no matter kind of what it is, that nobody wants to be the weak link. So,
is it winning culture? We talk about that a lot. Yeah, in sports, teams have to build a winning culture before they can win championships and have dynasties and everything. It's the same thing. I mean, you see it in the sport at the highest levels. Coletta, we're seeing it. You got to have that consistency and that winning mentality from top to bottom.
It is, but you got a lot of people that go out and say things like, well, they got all the parts, they got the most expensive people. That's not even true. Our people are not the most expensive people. Hell, a lot of our people don't even get paid. They're volunteers that want to do this. So it's just not true what you hear everybody say, you know, in any aspect of it. But it doesn't make me mad because, you know, they're basically trying to overcredit me and undercredit the team. It doesn't make me mad about that. It makes me mad because they're taking away from the guys that you know, like I said, nobody wants to be the weakest link. I
think you deserve a lot of credit, Scott. I mean, I know that you're a very humble guy. I've been blessed to get to know you over the last several years, and I know who you are as a person. But I got to tell you, man, we've seen plenty of well-to-do financially people come into this sport and accomplish nothing, you know, and we've seen it time and time again in drag racing that you can buy all the best shit. You can buy all the great, you can hire all the best people, but it's creating that culture and getting some sort of harmony amongst them that I think, especially in as ego-driven of a sport as drag racing is. You know what I mean? This is a sport where everybody's walking around with their chest puffed out most of the time. So I think you deserve a lot of credit. I do want to talk to both of you guys. You know, Scott, I'll throw it to you, and then Jason. Scott, tell us, I mean, we've talked about Chris Terry, and I'm a big Chris Terry fan. I've known him for a long time, but let's give Steve Petty his due here, what this man has accomplished in pro modified drag racing, and obviously in various other walks of life, you know, and in small tire racing, but specifically in pro mod. Yeah.
Well, specifically in pro mod, he's the best I've ever seen, especially to take a new car or new combo out and in the fewest amount of runs put it where it's going to be. He's just one of the best. He'll go down in the history of the sport as one of the best. And as long as he wants to do it, he knows where he can do it at.
Absolutely.
but he really is, and he's high strung. You know what I mean, Steve? It's hard if a driver don't produce. I mean, because I don't know what you expect out of Steve, but when Steve loses, he ain't happy. But that's what makes Steve Steve. You know what I mean? He wouldn't be Steve Petty if he didn't, get mad and yell or something coming off the starting line when you lose. Hell, he wouldn't even be him. But honestly, he's running for me the whole time. That's never bothered me one bit. I've never seen Steve be really irrational with a driver, but I have seen him blame a driver for something, and the driver never knew he blamed him, and then he go back to that driver and say, "Hey, man, that one's on me." You know what I mean? Just different things that do happen. You think this, think that, or go back, find out that something was leaking or whatever. Man, at the first of the year, hell, at the winter series with y'all, we had 2 or 3 oil leaks. I mean, that's just something our team doesn't have, and it was parts failure, 99%. Every time it was, some little stupid fitting or this or that. It wasn't anything nobody left loose, is what I'm telling you. But it just
for my part as a driver, and Steve, like I don't know how he is with everybody else, but my thing is with Steve is like I've known Steve for a really long time. Like we have been at my racetrack with Tim Lynch's car chasing, being the first Outlaw 10.5 in the 3s. Like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning stuff, and, we've just known each other a long time. And I think that, he respects me as a person, and he knows I do the same for him. And, we seem to, and we're both, older, so, we seem to gel pretty good. And here's the thing. If all the other teams out there, the ones that are whining about this or that or whatever, I'm here to tell you, Steve Petty is fired up. He is ready to he's ready to make this championship run. And I feel like it's special for him because it's in a combo that, he's never, ran that much. So it's a little bit new to him. He's definitely, he'll tell you he's learning some things as we go. But he's very smart. He has really sharpened his tools. He knows his craft. And I am blessed to be driving a car that Steve Petty tunes, and Chris being in there and helping too just makes it that much better. And I'm just lucky and blessed to be where I'm at. And
Steve,
I just can't, for
I'm
me,
happy to see him.
This is probably a once in a lifetime opportunity. I've raced a lot, and I've been, I've ran this, that, and other, and, had pretty decent success. But, it's amazing how well you can do when you have top-notch equipment. I've always known that I was a pretty decent driver, but it doesn't matter if your car's not fast enough. You can be as good as you want. You're only going to, be able to do that and win on just occasionally, when everything lines up for your combo, you're going to do well. But this thing here, for us to make it in the chase, really counting 3 races,
it's crazy.
Going into that first round, I am not lying to y'all. When I tell you it was major pressure for me, it was major. Like I even had my family, they all wanted to come to Bristol. And I was like, look, we're on this run right now. And I said, and they understood. I was like, just wait till after Bristol when I don't need any extra pressure. You know, it was a lot. And I mean, yes, was I 30 something? Yes, but I was not, you know, I guess I was a little bit gun shy, honestly, after red lighting against Ryan up there at Martin. And I was like, I'm not giving it away on the starting line. Like, I'm not doing it. Steve told me, he said, I am going to outrun them at least 2 numbers. And I said, okay, you know, I was hoping to be in the 20 range, but I missed it a little bit. But hey, when we got to the finish line first, I mean, it almost felt like winning the race to me. I was just, it was a big relief on me.
Well, some of the pressure started coming off at that point about the top 10, and it switches over to wanting to win the race. But I mean, you got to run Mike Castellana. I mean, he's a previous champion, and you know, you never know what they're going to run. You know, I know Steve was confident, but I mean, you never know what Frank's going to do over there. But you know, Mike's known to let the button go too when he needs to. So you had all that. But back to Steve, the thing that I'm the most proud of this race car and Chris and Steve and Jason and Franny and the guys that prepped the car. But the thing that makes it the best about that situation is all of Steve's previous championships have been discredited. Oh, well, it was a turbo car. Oh, well, centrifugal had an advantage. Same shit they're saying this year. And I'm telling you right now, I've raced both. I own both, plus Derek's car is in my camp that he owns. We know exactly what the advantage and disadvantages of those are, and it's close enough to race. And it's just like when we get back to Winter Series, we all talk and, you know, back and forth. You know, one thing I like about NHRA, one thing I love about Winter Series is y'all keep the rules pretty square. You know, probably as good as you can do.
We try.
We
try. Done.
Probably as good as you can do with the manufacturers playing the games that some of them play. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying that's what makes it worthwhile, that you're not going out there and doing your best and having Steve Petty do his best and Jason do his best and getting your butt kicked by somebody that just has a clear advantage. They're making half as good a run but going faster than you. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm really happy for Steve on that situation to bring the screw blower out and do something. We had to, believe it or not, 2 years ago, maybe 3 now, we had that roots blower deal fixing to run too. And then, you know, we crashed the car testing, unfortunate incident, and it's just been down forever. But I'm happy to see Steve get to take one of what everybody considers to be a traditional combo, and do something with it. You know, he did it in the Winter Series. I mean, it's nothing new. He did it in the Winter Series with Ken the year before with the car. We brought that car back out when Jason Redley, he was low of the round, you know, up there that he talks about. I'm just happy to see him get that opportunity, and I'm probably the one that pushed him to, you know, to be honest, I'm the one that is like, yeah, that's good. I mean, the centrifugal cars, we know about them, but these guys are out here saying, oh, well, the centrifugal has an advantage. It's not even true. The centrifugal guy, the guy working on those 3 centrifugal cars at NHRA has hundreds of runs with a centrifugal car, literally hundreds. Plus Steve Petty has hundreds. You put all that crap together, you know what I mean? And they got all that data. Now he's got 3 car data at every racetrack he's going to. You know, I'm not saying he has an advantage there, but I'm saying he's getting to see more. So how do you make rules against that? You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that, I mean, when we get that amount of data behind the screw, I feel like we'll be better than we are. And you know,
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Scott, because I think it's for, you know, Steve Petty's been on the cover of Drag Illustrated twice. We've been a big fan of his for a long time, and we've tried to celebrate and showcase him as much as possible. But you make a good point that it's almost always, there's always like there was a detractor, right? That there was some advantage, or they had, you know, something that nobody else had. And to see him doing what he's doing right now with the screw blower, to me, like it really puts like the cherry on top of the sundae. Who can argue with him?
It's
Well, I'll say
satisfying
this
to me,
too.
you know.
Let me say this real quick. Go back and look at all the NHRA races that we've been to, and go look at the 8th mile times and the 3:30 times. This car, it has been consistently the fastest car to the 3:30, probably just about. I mean, if we make a decent run, it has been probably the fastest car to the 3:30 every round. I mean, it is amazing, you know, how well he is managing the power on a consistent basis, you know, through the first, you know, I'm used to saying the first half of the track, but I guess the first quarter of the track, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, and that's also in all different conditions, you know, sun out, sun down, nighttime. I mean, we have to run all different times depending on different schedules and all. But my thing is, I've never been one of those guys the guys that say, oh, this is you know, well, that's because it was a turbo, that's because it was centrifugal. Well, the only thing I have to say to that is they didn't quit selling none of that stuff when, you know, Jegs and them bought it before, and Steve raced it, and Jose dominated with it. The shit was available. Whatever they had, you can buy it. If you think it's that easy, get you one. And I'm that way today. You know, I feel like the Roots cars should be fast right now, but I don't mean advantage fast. I just think they should be running, you know, on a good run. I think they should run up front.
How about those nitrous cars on the mountain in Bristol, both Tony Wilson and Ricky Smith? I know Bristol is the equalizer in a lot of ways in that situation, but they looked good, and hopefully we see those guys make it out to another event or two through the rest of the season.
Well, Bristol ain't the only place we ever run at with high correction factors is all I'll say to that. It is the high, you know, 109, but we've been at other races that were 107 and 8, and they can compete. The nitrous cars can absolutely compete in NHRA, in my opinion. Again, I don't have one, so I can't tell you exactly.
Technically, you do.
Well, yeah, that's true. Not a quarter-mile car, though.
Well, I love it, man. And it's this whole story, I think, has been like, were you guys at all surprised, Scott? I want to ask you, like, it feels like the NHRA Pro Mod series has been in a good place. Like it's had its moments, right? We've seen it ebb and flow over the course of time, and it's been, you know, it's been, what do you say, temperamental in recent years, but it felt like we were turning a corner. Were you at all surprised? Like, I've been a little bit surprised by all the hubbub around that second round deal. Like, is that a reflection of how competitive this deal has become?
It is. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and there's no doubt that, you know, every competitor left in there wanted us kicked out, and I mean, that's fine. But but most of those guys don't even want to win that way, truthfully. You know what I mean? So they're just pointing out this or that, or a crew guy is, or this person or that person. But no, I'm not surprised. As far as the NHRA Pro Mod deal, it has turned a corner because you have a board of 6 people total now that really, really, really care to see this thing succeed and put way more effort behind the scenes. It's kind of like everybody thinks you just show up to the Winter Series and have a race, you know, the week before and get ready. That's not what's going on there. There's a lot of people busting their butt 2 or 3 days every single week. There's 5 or 6 guys getting on a call just about every single week to talk about what we need to change, what we need to fix, what we need to do. And I'm on that board, and when it came down to the vote of Jason's, I sustained from that. It passed a board vote for Jason to get all of his points. There was a little bit of a pushback, and this is probably information not supposed to be out, but there were certain teams that pushed back on that, and there was one single board member brought up that, hey, maybe we probably should think about this. Let's make some phone calls to everybody. So we all picked 3 or 4 people to call. I called mine. They called theirs. We all got back on the phone and said, hey, it's this or that. And the board was like, well, NHRA said if 100% of the competitors in there voted for 100%, he could get them. That wasn't going to happen based on the 3 or 4 people. So I started fighting them for what I thought was our best case scenario, but I did not vote at all. And I don't feel like the board members, I don't feel like a single one of them voted with or against us because of me. I think it was what they felt was right, because nobody could take away, like I said, it's not like someone else drove the car one of those races. They couldn't take away that he was actually physically there. The paperwork doesn't change that, is what I'm saying.
I would argue the exact same thing. Like, if your ass is in the seat, you're going to have a hard time showing me any amount of paperwork that would support otherwise.
And I mean, just to clarify, you're talking about the paperwork that basically you designated at first as the replacement driver so that Ken continued to get points. But then after a certain point, you decided to switch it to Jason running the full series, and that he was going to start getting points. So that's just for anybody that was following that wasn't aware of that. And they talked about that on the broadcast some, I think, with Justin Bond, with Travis Harvey driving for him, that the NHRA Pro Mod series has, and I don't know all the details, maybe you can share them, that for a race or two before the championship countdown starts, you can put someone in your car and designate them as a temporary replacement driver and still accumulate points for the original driver. It's a way to allow these guys that run businesses or have other obligations to run the series essentially, but not have to compete at every event.
Well, it's actually a rule that is not meant to be exploited, but does sometimes, but it's not meant to be. We have several teams from out of the country, owners and drivers, and, you know, just international travel period is sometimes a problem. But 3 of the first 6 races, you can have what's called a sub driver. And the car earned the points under the main driver. Once the reset happens, it's over with. There's no more. It has, you know, has it been used a time or two? But it's been used for people to be off for weddings. It's been used for people that caught COVID back in the COVID times and was not allowed to travel to the races.
I think, was that the original reason why it came about?
That was where we first saw it, with Tommy Johnson driving for Matt Hagan.
That's
if
right.
you remember, and that was really when we first saw it. And I'll tell you, I think it was understandable then, and I don't mean to like stir, like, this is just my opinion. I think it's fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be there, you're going to find a way to be there. And we've got to kind of decide at some point, like, this is one of the...
You're right. NHRA it's always been in the pros, just so you'll know. It's just there now. I mean, when John Force got hurt that last year, somebody finished the whole season and he got the points.
Beckman. I think it's expanded upon in NHRA, and I mean in Pro Mod, and that's why it gets used more in Pro Mod. And I think that's why they talk about it. But it makes sense from one perspective. But like Wes, from your perspective, it is tough, or it does create loopholes or things.
It's probably used more in Pro Mod because all the drivers in Pro Mod, they're not getting paid anyway.
That's exactly right.
They're not hired drivers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it makes more sense. And it has, I think.
Well, like
I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen more abuse of it or whatever, or what could be considered abuse. But I think for the health of the class, and it's a self-run segment or organization of NHRA or class within NHRA. So you guys are basically a union or whatever you want to call it, that make your own decisions, kind of determine your own schedule, determine your own rules. Like, you guys operate very independently under the NHRA umbrella, and it's something that they allowed you to do. So I think it's something that it comes up and it's presented sometimes in a negative light. But in this situation with Jason, I mean, you probably never would have been in this position you're in now, going into the hunt at the end of the season for this championship, and you're a real contender and somebody that deserves to be there. You might not be there if it wasn't for this rule. So I think it's got, it's pros and cons.
That's absolutely right. Like, I mean, even before I went to the first race because I didn't know, I didn't know what the whole deal was going to be. I show up at Charlotte at a 4-wide race, and I literally called Ken when I got there, and I was like, hey man, I appreciate you letting me do it, because I just figured that he was going to be the one that ended up in the seat of it. And then halfway through the weekend, my dad's talking to me and talking to Greg at PSS, and
he's hooked.
And we're putting together a deal to try to drive it the rest of the year, and from the first test session at Still, Alabama, the car ran good to the 8th. We took it to Rockingham. It ran good there, and we go out there, and right off the bat, we feel like we're a player, and so that's kind of how it all went down. I mean, before the first elimination round was even ran, it was already being talked about. I'm not saying it was a done deal, but it was being talked about, because I was under the impression, and I mean, I think there was even a time, maybe even, I don't know if it was on your show or somewhere, where, Ken wasn't really interested in running NHRA. I mean, I'm not trying to speak for him, but I mean, that's the way I thought there was some interview where he said I don't know, maybe I'm confused, but
No, it was right here on this show.
Yeah.
It was right here on this show. And I mean, it's like, because that's my point, is that I think that I'm not saying that good things can't come from the substitute driver rule, but to your point, Scott, I do think it's one of those things that can be abused. Yeah. And I do think that drag racing as a whole, but specifically us in Pro Modified, it's like there's a little bit of an ongoing identity crisis. Like, we want all the things that come with being pros, but we don't, but not everything, right? You know what I mean? And it's like Max Verstappen's not going to mix the next Formula One Grand Prix. Now, granted, he's getting paid $30 million to drive that car or whatever, so it's different. But I do think if that's what we're aspiring to, that we may have to hold ourselves to those standards at some point.
Well, you might, but understand too, from the board's perspective of that, our whole thing about that, Wes, is all about car count.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all about, if Sidney Frigo is stuck in Brazil,
yep,
his car still gets to race. His car's been to a race or 2 races this year that he was unable to attend. One, for business obligations, weddings. I mean, it's designed for, hey, Jason's daughter's getting married. He don't have one, but she's getting married that weekend. He can't be there. That's what it's designed for. Justin Bond, the very first this year, the first race, he used Travis because he got his leg broke.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
It's designed for things like that. It's not
agreed.
It's not designed to pre-plan. If I'm here, I'm going to get a so-called better driver in the seat for me or whatever. As far as the plan, the original plan with Ken was another one. Nobody wanted to fool with this blue car that we brought out. Nobody wanted to fool with the screw blower. I'm talking about nobody. And me and Jason and Steve are just hard-headed enough to say, well, and Chris, of course, that we want to give this a try. We're going to figure it out. So we brought it out and did so. And the original plan was Jason to run Charlotte and Valdosta, and then Ken pick up in Chicago. And that deal changed a little bit with Jason staying. Ken would have picked up in Chicago, but it would have been in the silver car. But I don't really know, because we didn't really – I think it came down to Ken has a lot of business obligations with his business. They're really busy. They were back and forth with some contracts going away, new ones starting. I think he just had a lot of business to where he really didn't need to be gone like that.
Which any of us can certainly understand, right? I mean, that's a totally understandable deal. Yeah.
I mean, even for me, like, I mean, I own Pro Max Performance. It's a cylinder head company. if anybody out there needs cylinder heads for their race car, give us a call. But like, you know, I feel like I'm like, this is all the racing that I care to do. Like, I feel like I'm gone all the time, and definitely your business suffers because of that.
Yeah, and NHRA comes with more. I mean, let me promise you, all the top 10 teams over there are testing every week of the race. We don't show up. It looks funny that we show up Thursday and run Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that's not the deal. We usually are running somewhere that Monday and Tuesday, traveling Wednesday, rebuilding the car Thursday, getting ready to go Friday, Saturday. That's the real NHRA Pro Mod. That's what people don't realize. That's the part they don't see. And that's I promise you, that's every team. That's not.
I agree. And I appreciate you like pulling that back for the fans, because I think people need to know that it's not unloading this thing and blowing the dust off of it and putting air in the tires. It is. I mean, I can't get over how much testing most all these Pro Mod teams do at this point, and it's a fantastic thing, right? Yeah. I mean, it's.
Well, that's what makes it what it is. It's what makes it so tight, so tough, so hard, and like I said, it's every team. I mean, there's not a team out there I mean, there's only a couple of teams that are not testing like that, and it shows. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they do bad. I'm just saying they're not running in the front part of the group for that reason.
So let me ask you guys this, like, just looking forward, and I appreciate you guys being so so great with your time and hanging out with us for so long. Last thing, and we'll wrap this up, but I'm just curious. So Jason, you're headed to Columbus for the beginning of the IHRA Triple Crown deal. Scott, did I hear you saying that you're going as well with Derek?
No, with
Paul. Okay, Paul Gargas in the silver car, correct?
Silver car, Paul, and Chris, Franny, same crew. Yep. Steve will be there. Steve will be working on Jose, Randy Weatherford, and helping us if whatever we need. And then he's going to be doing the car Jason will be in.
I wanted to give you an opportunity. One of the things that I don't know if you've ever talked about it publicly, that I want to make sure you get some credit for, Scott, is I think it's amazing that you have these guys in your camp, but you allow the Steve Petties and the Brandon Strouds to also offer their services to a multitude of other teams in the pits. One thing that has allowed Pro Mod to grow is team owners' willingness, such as yours, Scott, to let those guys work on other people's cars that you're going to end up having to race. But that's important, because if that weren't the case, we'd have half as many cars. Can you just kind of speak to your mindset on that and how you view that? Because that's a common thread that we hear here at Drag Illustrated. Like, there's not enough tuners. There's not enough crew guys. We need more of these people. So thank God for the Scott Tidwells, amongst others, that allow their crew chiefs, guys that they have on their programs, to dabble in these independent operations.
Well, it is. I mean, the guys you mentioned, like, Steve, and when you mention those guys, Wes, I mean, it's not that I allow them to. I mean, it's the deal you make up front with them. I mean,
right.
They were racing when, I raced a long time, then I took a break, and then I came back, and they were racing with other people. And it's just been part of the deal the whole time that those guys work for who they work for at different series, different things. When we show up at your winter series, it's really crazy for those guys, because they got 8-10 cars, between all the series, is everybody showing up at one place, which is your deal. Honestly, it's not that I allow them to, but I am okay with it, because, they can tune both cars, but they can't drive either one of them. So we still have a chance to win if our driver outperforms their driver, is the way I see it. Or if our crew guys do a little better job. I mean, the tuner is everything, but not everything. A lot of people, don't understand. It doesn't matter how good the tuner does if the crew doesn't prepare the car to make the run correctly, and it's got things falling off and oil and this and that and other, then that's another scenario there. So yes, it's never. I've never asked any of my guys not to tune anybody else's stuff. I mean, we have the deals we make where they're on a salary with us and other people, and us salary payers are supposed to come first, and we do. There's no doubt in my mind with any of our tuners, whether it be, Chris or Brandon or Steve, that when it comes down to it, if whatever we need, we get.
Well, and I just think it's worth mentioning because our sport, I see it at the Winter Series every year. It's like, oh my God, this guy, Lee White's tuning 10 cars, freaking Brandon Stroud's tuning 10 cars. All these guys got their hands in it. John Salemi's tuning a half dozen cars. Todd Tuttero's tuning a dozen cars. And you're going, okay, thank God that this is happening because there's a whole lot of these guys that wouldn't be here if they couldn't have their guy.
Right. We see guys that can't come because they can't get crew or don't have their tuner or whatever. Even though they've got a great operation. So we do see some of that, but we could see a ton more if it wasn't for that.
Right. Well, and Stevie's got him something started, and he needs props for what he's doing with his, whatever it is, Tuner University or whatever.
KTRU.
He deserves props for that if he can really get people to participate and help, and he will. He'll get his tuners and all to help those people because everybody don't need to be shown what the run looks like. They need to be shown how to really use the stuff. And then so a lot of them are plenty smart enough. What y'all mentioned earlier with AB about Dean Marinas that came over there and very little help. And then, he's found his own way.
Well, I agree with you. We were very excited to see the Stevie Jackson announcement, KTRU, because we need more of that. Like, this is something that we need to see more of in our space, because I know, like, back when I was, running around with, a bunch of NHRA Pro Mod teams, that wasn't as much the case. Your crew chief didn't leave your tent. You know what I mean? And he certainly wasn't talking to anybody else. And we saw it becoming a problem. So I'm glad that we've seen this happen,
Well, something about those guys, too, that doesn't get covered. Everybody looks at Steve Petty and Brandon and even Chris Terry's now success they've had, and they see that. Let me tell you what they don't ever see. What they don't ever see is those three guys will help anybody. I'm telling you, if a guy's in a bad position, in a bad place with his car, they don't have to buy Proline parts. It don't matter. If somebody comes to them and says, hey, man, what do you think? 100 times I've seen Steve Petty sit down and take an hour at a radial race or a Pro Mod race. Chris Terry didn't know anything about a Pro Mod when he went to work with those guys and our team. Nothing. And now look what he knows. But it's not just because they like Chris. I'm telling you, I've watched them. They're working now with, Ricky Jones is wanting to, turn into that type deal. And Brandon's worked really close with Ricky. I'm not saying that's why Ricky's doing what he's doing, because Ricky's doing a really good job. I'm just saying they worked close to start with. And that's that's the credit that Steve and Brandon and now even Chris Terry deserve that they don't ever get. They get the credit for the wins. They get the credit for the championships. They don't ever get the credit for trying to actually help other people figure out their problems and do stuff. And I get to see that firsthand because I'm in there,
It's an amazing thing, Scott. And that speaks to our community. Like, this is a great community of people. The sport of drag racing, I tell people this all the time, but it's like you can bring your kids to a drag race and let them run around and ain't nobody going to hurt them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a great community of people. And I see another name in the comment, like Jamie Miller, what him and Johnny are doing. There's a slew of these guys that have kind of spawned out of the Steve Petty Proline operation. And it's been an amazing thing to see. Boys, I appreciate you guys so much. Scott, when do you leave for Ohio?
As soon as I hang up this phone.
All right. Call me later. All right. And Jason, congratulations on everything, man. Seriously, we're super happy for you. I still remember staying up late with you at Steel 100, what seems like 100 years ago. I can't wait to see you at the races yet this summer. Best of luck. Congratulations. And we'll see you soon.
Well, Jason brings up that 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with Tim and Petty. He didn't mention that he's seen the son come up with his own butt in the car over there a couple of times. Yeah. I've seen the sun come over that tower and us still testing.
Yeah, earlier in the year, I think I made 20 runs in one day. I was like wore out.
That's why our radio success comes is
20 runs, Scott. Yeah. So what do you got to freshen it up halfway through the day?
Well, no, that
it was multiple
day you
cars.
do it again.
Yeah, it's like we got a story in the new issue, DI 200. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Built, not bought, and it's a story about Scott's team and the recent success they've had. So check it out in DI 200. Kind of goes along to exactly what you guys are saying. It's you can have all the best parts and pieces and people, but you got to get out there, test, do all these things that it takes, and
you still got to put the work in.
Yeah,
there's a lot of teams that's got the parts and way more budget than any of our teams have. I promise you that. But
we couldn't be happier for you guys. Truly, man. It's exciting to see the hottest team in Pro Mod drag racing today. Scott Tidwell Motorsports, Jason Collins. Congrats, man. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
I can't believe we got Scott to stay on here for a fucking hour.
Oh, he